Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Local San Diego, where we meet some local people and businesses that you should know about. I'm here with this very special guest today, Miss Judy Beckett with Cornerstone Equine Therapy Center. Did I get that
You
right?
got it. You
Wow,
nailed
I
it.
got it
Yep.
right because there was a recent name change, which we'll talk about. So I was worried
Yeah.
about screwing it up. So I did something right today.
Nailed it.
Anyway, well, thanks for you drove all the way from Escondido, which is quite a drive because we're in beautiful Coronado. It's always a good time to be in Coronado, I think. But thanks for coming for that long trip to be with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
My pleasure. I only know a little bit about you. We haven't met before, which is kind of unusual. A lot of people we have on that I do know, but you were highly recommended by someone we both know, and it meant a lot to me. And I did look into it, and I thought it was an interesting story. I know you have an event coming up. It's a nonprofit. There's fundraising involved, and my wife's a big horse lover, so that kind of played into the thing too. So tell us who you are, where you came from, how you got here, and what you do.
Oh my gosh, that's a big answer.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, I've ridden since I was 7. Sold my horses when I went off to college because I didn't have any time or money to do it, and I dropped out of school, started a business, sold the business, went back to school, and I moved back down to San Diego. And I wanted to get back into horses, and I saw a flyer at school that said we need volunteers for this program that uses horses for children with special needs. And I'm like, oh, how cool is that? And that was in 1987, and it wasn't very popular then. And it wasn't very prolific either. So it was kind of almost the best hidden secret on the planet.
So you grew up in San Diego when you were okay, and then you moved away and came back.
I moved from after I graduated. I moved up to LA to go to school, or Long Beach, and then came back down here.
Okay. Well, the name kind of implies what you do, but go ahead and elaborate on what we talked a little bit on the phone. So you're different than there's a few different horse therapy centers out there. So make sure I want people to know why your unique position and what you do.
There are a lot of unique things about Cornerstone, but we started working with children and adults with special needs in 2007, and in 2008 there was a pilot program that we participated in and partnered with the Naval Medical Center, San Diego Naval Medical Center, which is Balboa Hospital. And the purpose of the pilot was to define the special needs of the active duty service members that were coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan with catastrophic combat casualties, so loss of limbs, traumatic brain injury. And this is not my word, it's their word, but like being blown up.
Right.
So we saw a lot of that. So we worked with their doctors, we worked with their physical therapists, occupational therapists. And one of the things that we discovered during the pilot was regardless of the level or severity of the physical injury, it was really the emotional injuries that we were really working with. Yeah. So we have psychiatrists and psychologists to this day that are at the Naval Medical Center that if we need support and have a question with a client that we're working with, they're there to support us. But that year-long education in that was extraordinary. The other part of our educational background, which is an important one in our industry, is that the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship, PATH is the acronym.
Great name, acronym.
Exactly, right? So PATH
could have been trail, but it would have been better. But PATH
would have been longer. So PATH is the gold standard internationally for certifying and credentialing individuals to do this, and also the riding centers as well. They're kind of like the FAA is to the aeronautics industry. Okay. So it takes a little over a year at minimum to get your certification as a trainer. I got certified in 2008, but I've been involved before I started the program, I was with the Better Business Bureau as their director of development. And during that time and prior to starting the program, I stayed involved with multiple programs, like at Helen Woodward, at the Reigns Therapeutic Riding Program, and stayed involved in the craft and said, someday I'm going to do this. And through a series of various things happening in my life and my family's life, the time came.
Great. So when did it start? When did you actually
2007.
Open? 2007, you opened this center. Okay, great.
Yeah. So, and then in 2017, we really evaluated where we were because we had the 2 programs under the Cornerstone umbrella. We had the therapeutic riding, which really that moniker now is very specific to programs that work with children, predominantly with special needs. Equine therapy is more in the realm of what we do with wounded warriors, and we deal with active duty service members, veterans, and first responders. And our mission is to save and restore the lives of service members who are battling service-related PTSD,
Right.
emotional and mental health trauma, and physical injury.
Got it.
So that's our mission now. So in 2017, because there are so many great programs working with kids with special needs in San Diego,
Mhm.
Cornerstone is the first program to stand up programs for the military and
Okay.
first responders. And we've pioneered the industry in San Diego.
Wow.
So we're super proud of that.
Great.
And we decided to step into that niche and stay there because we're really good at it. We're also the preferred provider for the Naval Medical Center and now for 32nd Street, for Naval Training Center in Liberty Station.
Wow.
And since COVID and now with the economy, the need for mental health and emotional health has exploded. In August of 2020, we were contacted by the Naval Medical Center, and they said, "Look, we need some support here. You know, morale's down, suicides are up." So we created programs. We worked really diligently with them. It was a little bit hard to do, but it happened. And so we take our herd of miniature horses on site to build morale and to introduce people to it. And it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
In talking to their base commander a couple months ago, so we've been doing this for like almost 2 years now, and it's just been wildly successful.
Yeah.
And their base commander said, I've been reading this book, and it's talking about how our medical staff can't be effective if they're not in a good place mentally and emotionally, which
Right.
obviously makes sense. And she said, you guys have been a game changer here.
Wow.
So where you've had some, we were there last week, and one of the new volunteers, she goes, oh my God, everybody, you see them walk out of the buildings super mopey, and you can feel the heavy and you can feel the sad, and they see one of the horses and they're like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah.
And like, it totally changes. But it's also changing the conversation within the department. So where people are kind of butting heads and not necessarily playing nicely together. Now they're saying, oh my God, there are horses out in the courtyard. And they're like,
puts them all in the same group, same page. Yeah.
And they're starting to, they take pictures and they're sharing pictures and they're sharing that conversation, which is laughter and joyfulness and happy. And it takes the heavy off, and it's making some profound changes.
I'll bet it is. Well, I mean, unfortunately, there's such a need for all between the war and COVID for the consumers, and then COVID for the, the care providers like you're talking about. So there's all these different levels, and it's all kind of keep filling this bucket of stuff to take care of. And so it's so good that you have that kind of things. And horses, in general, I mean, they're just, women love horses.
Who doesn't like a horse?
Who doesn't like a horse? Well, there's taking care of them and stuff, but they have that thing, that emotional thing, and it's hard to see unless you see it. But it's just not like another animal. I'm a big dog lover, and they have that too. But horses are a special breed, literally.
Well, one of the things that is really interesting, if you kind of break it down, like why does equine therapy work and why is it valuable, is that when you're with a dog's a predator, so are we. So we tick the same way.
Got it.
Horses are a prey animal, and they're a flight animal. So there's a different dynamic in that in and of itself. And one of the really interesting things is that people don't realize, and one of the reasons it's very effective, is that when you are with a horse, you don't realize it's happening, but you don't think of anything else. So suddenly all of the stress, all of the anxiety, all of those thoughts that are swirling in your head, the fight you had with your wife, you yelled at your kids, your boss yelled at you, whatever the bad stuff is, and the depression and suicidal ideations, all of those things, they're gone. And it's in a non-pharmaceutical, non-clinical, non-psychiatric environment. And what we do with it is, when we do our programs at the ranch, is we say to people when we're done, like if they're there for a one-day retreat, we'll say, so let me ask you, did you think about anything? And they'll look at you and go, oh my God, no, I didn't. And that's half the battle.
I knew horses were prey animals. I knew that difference, but I never really thought about how it affected the connection humans and horses. So
it's amazing.
I told you my wife's a horse lover, and she tells me that as soon as I get on his back, all my troubles are gone. I'm just there, and she's so happy. And I get it, but I don't get it to that level, but I understand it. So, and I've seen it work. We've had other horse organizations on here, won't name them, but I've experienced it with veterans and kids and all this kind of stuff, because there's a lot around there's a lot of horses around here, and they're all doing great things. But I've seen it firsthand, how someone walks in and goes in that corral, and as soon as they go towards that horse and start being there with it, they just change. You can see it on their face right away. So
it's dramatic. We did a research project back probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and we were stunned at the results. And what we found is a 92% decrease in suicidal ideations,
Wow.
94% decrease in depression, and a 91% decrease in suicide, not suicide, excuse me, stress and anxiety. It's profound. And the really cool thing is right now is the industry is really burgeoning, and there's so many different niches now. There's vaulting, there's driving, there's there's the experiential learning, there's equine-assisted learning, there's all sorts of stuff, mental health stuff. It's really cool. Is that they're starting to finally do some research on it to get the data, because you can have all these great anecdotal stories, but at the end of the day, where's the hard paper? Because a lot of people want to see the science behind it, and that hasn't been done, but they're starting to do it. What they're also finding is it's regulating, it's bringing down people's heart rate and their blood pressure. It's increasing the feel-good hormones in our body, the endorphins and the serotonin and the oxytocin, and those things. When you are like clinically depressed, it's also considered a brain injury. So your brain function changes, and a lot of times you stop producing those hormones. So it kind of re-triggers the brain. So it's fascinating to see it from the scientific side as well of the why does it work.
Yeah. So it's one of those overall, you always knew it was good, but then you start seeing how good it is, and maybe it can be specifically good for this symptom or this disease or this trauma or whatever. So it's great that that's being developed that way to even do more for more people. So,
it's super fun.
And tell me the nuts and bolts. I mean, how many horses do you have? You mentioned your miniature horses. So tell us what the herd's comprised of.
So our herd right now, we have 4 miniature horses and we have 2 full-size horses. We had a herd before we sold our ranch in Ramona about 3.5, 4 years ago. We had 12. And sadly, they were all super old, and incrementally they've passed away. We didn't increase the herd numbers because of COVID. Because we work specifically with the military and first responders, especially with Balboa, they would shut down and they wouldn't allow their patients or their doctors or anybody associated with the hospital. They could go home, they could go to work, and they could go to the grocery store, and that was it. And then they'd open things up. So it was kind of this up and down thing. And horses, as you probably well know, are super expensive.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to ride that storm out without a ton of extra horses that needed to be exercised and needed to be, excuse me, shoes done and farrier and excuse me, farrier is the shoes. Feed, bedding, stall clean, all the things that go along with it. So right now we've kind of actually adopted a really cool new paradigm where we have so many people that just absolutely love what we do that they're like, borrow my horse.
Oh, really?
And so
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So we'll bring a horse in for a month that we need for whatever we're doing. And then we're done, we take it back home.
Wow.
So that's been really a great gift to us. And it's a model that we're looking at more long-term as we expand. And that's the other really exciting thing that's happening right now. Pardon me. It's good and it's bad, right? So mental health issues for everybody, not just the military, but the military is such a vulnerable population, and more so than the civilian population. And the need is there, and we are busting at the seams. So there's a facility that you may be familiar with that's in Del Mar, borderline Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe, called Del Mar Horse Park. And it's owned by the 22nd Agricultural District, and they shut it down about 1.5 years ago. They put it out for bid for a contractor to run it, and we were invited to be the therapy center there at Del Mar Horse Park. So we're super, super honored by that. And it should be opening back up in July of next year of 2023. So we're in the process right now of doing, not necessarily capital campaign, but doing the fundraising to expand our services and then bring new horses on. So it's really an exciting time, and expansion's like the word for the next year for us.
You're a nonprofit.
We are.
So you rely on donations of not only people letting you use their horses to take some of the expense away, but also money from individuals and companies.
Right. So we have private donors, we have corporate donors, we have sponsors for our events. Our event in December, which is our Black Tie and Boots Gala, is our flagship event. We used to do a super fun chili cook-off when we were still in Ramona, and it was really successful, but we're going to bring it down the hill and going into Del Mar Horse Park. It's a perfect facility for it. So we're going to start looking at resurrecting that. when we get there next
great.
year. Yeah, so we're excited about that
Oh,
too.
cool. Well, let us
Super
know if
fun.
we can help you.
I will,
December
thank you.
2nd, it's the bow tie and
Black tie and boots.
Oh, black tie.
Yeah,
The
so
swoosh there,
it's
I did,
cocktail
the swoosh.
attire or black tie and wear your best boots.
That's great.
Yeah,
And it's
super
going to
fun.
be when and where?
It
December
is
2nd.
Friday, December 2nd. It's at the Lomas Santa Fe Country Club
Okay, great
in
location.
Solana Beach. And we have a lot of really fun stuff. We bring our minis on the red carpet.
Okay.
And so as people come in, they'll have the red carpet. They'll take their pictures with the minis. We're looking at doing a casino night for the guys because what do we know? We always go to events. All the girls get up and dance.
Oh,
the
yeah.
guys are sitting there going,
Yeah. When's it
"Okay,
going to get
guys,
over?
yeah, like, how long do I have to sit here?"
We've eaten now.
Yes.
What do we?
But if we have a cigar lounge and a casino night outside,
Absolutely.
the guys are going to be pretty happy. So we're
I
going to
want
make it a
ticket
lot
to
of
that
fun.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Cool.
A few days, yes.
So we might rerun this, or we'll remind people in future shows when we get closer to that date, but put it on your calendar right now, December 2nd.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
it's tell everybody the website. I know you said it's kind of going
So
through
our
transition.
website's under construction, but the best way to reach us, and you'll see it a lot on our Facebook page at Cornerstone Therapeutic Writing Center. On our Facebook page, we'll be posting the sponsorship opportunities. Our website is being pulled down. It's still mildly functional, but we're tearing the whole thing down and rebuilding it. Should hopefully be back up within the next month, give or take.
Okay.
But the website address is cornerstonetrc.org.
Okay.
And then the Facebook page is Cornerstone Therapeutic Writing Center. And it'll give some really great insights into what we've been doing lately. We're really proud of this. As a pioneer in this space, we're always pushing the boundaries of the status quo and trying to open doors that haven't been previously opened. And one of those doors was starting to go down for resource fares to 32nd Street pre-deployment for some of their ships. So we've worked with the USS Charleston, the USS Mobile, the Kansas City, the USS Anchorage, and we just got invited down to North Island for the USS Carl Vinson, which we're super excited about because it's an aircraft carrier. Really but cool. Our big coup recently is that there was been a goal to get the horses on board one of the ships.
Wow.
And it's not been done since World War II. And when it was done in World War II, it was for war purposes, not for support purposes. So we partnered with the captain, Jervy Alota, who is one of the most dynamic people I've ever met in my life. And frankly, and with the base at 32nd Street, we took 7 horses aboard the USS John P. Murtha at the beginning of the month. And it was extraordinary. I had goosebumps walking across.
I'll bet, just thinking about it.
Yeah, so we took 2 miniature donkeys, 4 miniature horses, and one of our trainers brought his Mustang. And then he allowed the captain to ride the horse on his own ship. How cool is that?
Oh, you're just having too much fun doing all
so
this.
Much
good.
fun. Yeah. So
well, that's.
It was a good day, and we were able to serve 400 sailors that day. And one of my favorite quotes from that day, Brad, was a young woman kind of was tracking us all day. She was just with us all day. And she came up to me with tears welling up in her eyes. And she said, "You know what, Judy?" She goes, "I rode growing up and I had horses at home." And she said, "I'm from the South." And she said, "Your horses totally took me home today." And she said, "I didn't know that I needed to go home."
Wow. Choked me up.
Yeah, I know, right? Me too. I was like, I was welling up with tears.
Wow, that's a great thing to hear.
Yeah. So we're really fortunate. It's like we're a big family, and the really cool thing for me personally, like that just is a feel good, is we have so many of the men and women that have come through the program over the years. We've served over 4,000 men and women in the armed services and first responders. We're very proud of that. But when they call you, they've retired out medically, a lot of them, or they've retired out at 21 years or 30 years or wherever they are in their career paths. And they'll call me from Virginia or from Oklahoma, and they're starting programs. And I've helped several start programs. One started a baseball program for wounded warriors. One started it in Virginia, is now in Colorado, and he's doing amazing things with cattle drives and saddle making clinics and spur making clinics. And it's really great to be a part of somebody's journey. And we've got some big plans for the future too, in terms of transitional housing, in terms of vocational training programs. We have so many men and women that say to us, "I don't want to get into the civilian world and sit behind a desk and work around a lot of people. I want to do this."
Yeah.
And so that training and that program will be starting to create job opportunities and have them graduate as a ranch foreman, certified, and then they can go out wherever they want to go and go get their job on the ranch.
Wow. Well, I'm impressed. That's unfortunately there's a huge need for that, and it keeps increasing, but it's nice to see, organizations like yours and the other ones you're dealing with, at least we're we're taking this serious and building the resources and things like that. So it's always a balancing act to try and to keep up with the demand. The demand's always increasing, but thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
This is
It's
great.
such a pleasure.
It's inspiring. I definitely want to come out to the ranch and see
I'd
and
love
see
for
some
you to do
horses
that.
out there.
We'll put you on a horse.
Okay, well, just so
Maybe.
nobody's filming. No, I'm actually pretty good. I won't fall off. Anyway, that's our show today. One question for everyone is if they want to either experience it, if you're going through trauma, know somebody that does, go to the website, go to the Facebook page, reach out to you, right?
Correct.
If the public wants to get involved in any way, you can obviously donate.
Right. So you can
anything else they
absolutely
can do?
So the
Volunteer?
website's still active in terms of donation. So there's a
Okay.
donate button. There's also video on our homepage on our website that really it's a documentary that was done by
Yeah.
GSO Productions that really gives you an insight into the men and women that we've served, how it's impacted their lives, how it's changed their lives, and help them define their lives in their new normal.
I think it's about 8 minutes long, right?
About 8 minutes,
Yeah,
yeah,
because we
it's
were going to
good.
show it today, and it was just too long for us to
Yeah.
fit it in for the software or whatever. But go watch the video. It's 8 minutes long. It's a well spent 8 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so you can go to the website still and hit the donate button, and you can sponsor a horse. You can make a financial contribution to support. You can certainly, if somebody's interested in getting the sponsorship opportunities, they will be on our Facebook page, or they can call me directly for the
Okay.
Black Tie and Boots Gala.
Got it.
If somebody wants to get involved, volunteer, again, they can call me directly. They can email me. That's another resource
Okay.
as well. So,
Is there any minimum commitment to volunteers? I mean, can they?
we usually ask people to give us 1 day a week,
Okay.
same day, same time. So we just have the consistency because that's an important component of it as
And how
well.
many hours?
Usually about 3 or 4 hours for
3 or
each.
4 hours, 1 day a week. Okay.
Excuse me.
So-
And then we ask for a minimum of a 3-month commitment just
Got
because a lot of time and training goes into
Oh
it.
yeah.
You don't need to have horse experience, but for the people that are going to the offsite clinics with us to Balboa and the different naval stations and military installations, we are looking for people that are actually very accomplished horse people. But for the people that aren't, we train them and we teach them and we bring them along, and it's a really neat evolution.
Amazing. And then a lot of people that watch the show are small businesses or even large businesses. So if you're a business that wants to, give back, do some good, get some recognition for it also, but you accept donations, and
Absolutely.
there's also some sponsorships to the if you go to the website, I know it was there, and there's some sponsorships for the gala on December 2nd.
Yes,
right?
those will be on our Facebook page.
Okay.
And but in terms of the donation, if you want to make a charitable donation or if the corporation wants to get involved, we like to give back. We're not just about, hey, will you help us? We like the kind of the quid pro quo.
Right, of course.
So that, getting exposure through social media and on our new website and various pipelines that we have, that we want to build a relationship. It's not just a one-time thing. We want to build long-term relationships. So usually I'll meet with somebody in person or we'll talk on the phone, but they can certainly email me or contact me by phone.
Great. Well, there you have it. I think you've all seen Judy and the passion she has, the expertise you have, and so I don't have to say what you're doing. You're really good at what you do. She's a lifelong horse person and giving back and all that stuff. So it's a total package. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Go watch the video. Highly encourage you to take 8 minutes, watch the video, learn a little bit more even than didn't learn here today, and consider volunteering and go see Judy. I wanted to thank
see Cornerstone. Yeah,
exactly. Go see Cornerstone. That's our show today. I do want to thank our sponsors, Attorney King, Saquon Casino, and IB Fitness. I will be back with a show again soon, and thanks for joining us. Simply Local San Diego.